Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am wrapping up week 3 of Horror Mayhem, and I had another great week. I read 2 things for the week. The first one was a very short novella that I was able to finish in just an hour or two. Comfort Me with Apples by Catherynne and Valente. I was not planning on reading this book this month. I had a longer short story collection in mind instead of this one, but I saw Latasha Haynes Reads read this book for Horror Mayhem, and I have had this book for a while. And it's a very short book that also counts for the Buzz Wordathon hosted by Books and Lala. So I decided to pick this one up because it's kind of a weird book. It's kind of a thriller, kind of a retelling fantasy. It's kind of horror. It's kind of literary. It's kind of a mix of a lot of things. And I really like this book a lot. I thought it was really beautifully written, and I definitely want to read more from Catherynne and Valente now. And I can't believe a book that short could have such an impact on me. Like, it really blew me away. And it's so short that I don't know if I can tell you much about it without spoiling it. It's better to just not really know what's going on and just jump right in and let it take you on a ride. But the basic setup is it takes place in this gated neighborhood, and there's a woman who thinks that she has the perfect life. It's kind of like this utopia thing, and that she's married to the perfect man and everything is perfect. But it turns out maybe things aren't as perfect as they seem. There's the setup for this book. And on top of that, I read a bunch of short stories in week 3 from the Books of Blood by Clive Barker. I read all of volume 1 and then 2 stories from volume 2. And then this week, in week 4, I am finishing up the book. And this is a fantastic collection of horror stories. They're very visceral and gross at times, lots of details. And Barker's writing is really top notch with descriptions and use of language. And all of the stories are very, very unique, memorable, and varied. I mean, all kinds of different stories. There's a folklore story, there's creatures, there's ghosts, there's zombies, there's everything in here, and human monsters, everything. Volume 1 is probably the best section in this book. I pretty much loved every story. Let me just see. The first story was the Book of Blood, which I gave 5 stars. It was a great introduction to the collection, and it's about spirits on the highway of the dead, and they take offense to this boy who is claiming that he can talk to the spirits, and the real spirits don't take kindly to that. And then the Midnight Meat Train was also 5 stars, and that was a serial killer story that takes place in the subway in New York City. That was really good. And then The Yattering of Jack was probably my least favorite from Volume 1. It's 4 stars. And it's about this lower demon that is trying to unnerve Jack, who is like unshakable. Nothing gets to him. And it's kind of got some humor in there while he's trying to scare this man who cannot be bothered. The next story was Pig Blood Blues, which is another 5-star story. I love the setting of this one. It takes place in a juvenile penitentiary, and there's this new teacher that comes to teach the kids at this penitentiary. And there's some weird nonsense going on the farm connected to the property. And next was Sex, Death, and Starshine, which had a slow start, but it ended very strong. I gave it 4 stars. It was about a doomed Shakespeare play production and the living dead. Then I reread In the Hills of Cities, which I read last year for Horror Mayhem. I gave it 5 stars. It's a full core story. And it has this English gay couple on a vacation, and they encounter this very strange ritual and tradition in the hills. It's very, very good, interesting, unique folk horror story. And that was the end of Volume 1. Really amazing stories. 4 5 stars and 2 4 stars. That's really good. And then I read 2 stories from Book 2, Volume 2 of Books of Blood. The first one was Dread, which I gave 5 stars. It's about a man obsessed with dread who performs disturbing experiments. And this one is set on a college campus, and it features college students. It was a good one. And then Hell's Event was not as good in my opinion. I gave it 3 stars, and it's about a foot race through hell. And I will be very happy when I finish that entire collection, because it's one of my books for 40 books to read before I turn 40, which the deadline is coming up in September. And I've got quite a few books to go. So I'm glad I could fit that one into Horror Mayhem. And that's everything that I read for week 3. Love to know what your favorite horror story you read for week 3 was. And I will be back very soon with another book related video. Thanks. Bye.